The story begins with a child named Megamind, whose planet is being destroyed. To save him, his parents place him in a space pod, along with a talking fish named Minion, and send him far away from the planet. At the exact same time, another child named Metro Man is also escaping from his collapsing planet. During the journey, their space pods collide with each other, completely changing their destinies. Metro Man's pod lands in a luxurious mansion, while Megamind's pod crashes inside a prison. The prisoners there raise Megamind and teach him to follow the path of evil from a very young age. Metro Man possesses unbelievable superpowers, while Megamind has an incredibly brilliant and sharp mind that he uses to create destructive and mischievous inventions. Because of his behavior, Megamind is sent to a school. At school, Metro Man wins everyone's hearts with his powers. Meanwhile, Megamind also tries to make the other children happy using his intelligence. But something always goes wrong, and he ends up making mistakes. Megamind creates several special gadgets, yet nobody likes him. He always feels alone, while Metro Man receives endless love and admiration from everyone. Frustrated by this, Megamind decides that if he cannot become good, then he should become the worst guy of all. He chooses to become a supervillain, turning him and Metro Man into fierce enemies. However, in every battle, Metro Man always defeats Megamind. One day, the prison warden comes to check whether Megamind is still inside the prison. The warden shows him a gift and says that Metro Man sent it, but in reality, it is a hologram watch. The moment the warden puts on the watch, Megamind's assistant Minion activates it. At the same time, outside, a famous TV reporter named Roxanne Ritchie is doing a live report at Metro Man's honor ceremony. Suddenly, Minion kidnaps her using an invisible vehicle. Back at the prison, the magical watch transforms the warden's appearance into Megamind's. The other police officers capture the fake Megamind, who was actually the warden, and throw him into a prison cell. Meanwhile, the real Megamind easily escapes from prison disguised as the warden. Outside the prison, Minion picks him up in a vehicle because the entire plan and the watch were arranged by Minion himself. On the other side, the people of the city organize a massive ceremony to honor Metro Man for all his goodness and help. Everyone there is obsessed with him. Metro Man steps onto the stage, thanks the people, and says that he is grateful for the opportunity they have given him to serve the city. After escaping prison, Megamind returns to his secret hideout called the Lair, where many dangerous gadgets and weapons are stored. Megamind sits in his villain chair, and then Minion removes the cloth covering the kidnapped reporter Roxanne's head. Megamind tries to intimidate her by saying that no one can hear her screams there, so she can scream as much as she wants. When Roxanne fearlessly asks where they are, the foolish Minion accidentally reveals the location of the hideout, Evil Lair. Roxanne mocks Megamind and tells him that he is a terrible villain. Irritated by this, Megamind pretends to scare her with crocodiles, laser guns, and burning weapons, but Roxanne remains completely fearless because she has grown used to his tricks. At the same time, Metro Man is cutting the ribbon for his new museum. Suddenly, Megamind appears live through his giant holographic screen technology and shows everyone that Roxanne is in his captivity. Metro Man tells Roxanne not to be afraid because he is coming to save her, while Megamind challenges him to find them. Just then, the clever Roxanne notices the background and recognizes the place. She loudly announces on live television that they are at the old observatory. Hearing this, Metro Man quickly rushes toward the location. However, this turns out to be Megamind's carefully planned trap. The moment Metro Man arrives there, he becomes trapped inside a giant copper dome. Laughing proudly, Megamind announces that Metro Man is finally trapped. Because copper absorbs his powers, Metro Man becomes completely weak. After this, Megamind orders Minion to fire the dangerous solar laser beam from his satellite gadget in space directly at the observatory. A massive explosion destroys the entire observatory, and through the smoke, Metro Man's skeleton comes flying down. Seeing Metro Man dead, Megamind cannot contain his happiness because he has finally succeeded. After this, he begins roaming around the entire city like a king with his robotic pet gadgets. When Roxanne asks him in front of the terrified citizens what he plans to do with the city now, Megamind says that he is going to do something so terrible that nobody could have ever imagined it. In the end, he takes control of Metro Man's museum and proudly announces during the celebration that the obstacle in his path is finally gone and he is now the new ruler of the city. After defeating Metro Man, Megamind freely spreads destruction throughout the city. He robs banks, paints the museum in his favorite blue color, and steals all the gold and silver to live a luxurious life. But after some time, he grows bored of all of it. One day, while feeling depressed, he tells Minion that even though they now have everything, he still feels emptiness and sadness deep inside. Hearing this, even Minion falls silent for a moment. On the other side, reporter Roxanne becomes emotional on live TV while remembering Metro Man and questions Megamind about whether he is truly happy now. Meanwhile, Roxanne's cameraman Hal tries to convince her to go to a party with him because he secretly has strong feelings for her. But Roxanne refuses him. After this, Roxanne goes to Metro Man's giant statue and sadly says that after his death, evil is now roaming freely everywhere. Just then, the museum caretaker Bernard arrives there and says that it is time for the museum to close. At the same time, Megamind secretly begins planting bombs near the statue. Suddenly, Roxanne hears a sound and starts walking back toward that area. Seeing Roxanne approaching, Megamind panics and dehydrates the real Bernard with his gun, turning him into a tiny little cube. He then uses his hologram watch to take Bernard's appearance. After this, Megamind, disguised as Bernard, walks downstairs with Roxanne while pretending to help her leave the museum safely. During their conversation, Roxanne says that sooner or later someone will stand against Megamind because heroes are not born, they are made. Hearing this statement from Roxanne gives Megamind a brilliant idea. The moment Roxanne leaves, Megamind blows up the statue with the bombs and returns to his hideout. There, he decides to create a new superhero using Metro Man's remaining DNA so that he can have a new rival to fight and give his boring life a purpose again. Using Metro Man's DNA, he creates a special serum and loads it into a gun. His plan is to inject this serum into the body of a kind and good-hearted person. Meanwhile, Megamind receives a phone call from Roxanne because he accidentally kept the real Bernard's phone with him. Roxanne tells him over the phone that she has discovered one of Megamind's secret hideouts and is about to enter it. Hearing this completely shocks Megamind. He immediately takes Bernard's form again and rushes there. When he sees Roxanne, he pretends that he also just happened to be nearby. Roxanne starts trying to understand Megamind's dangerous weapons and evil plans inside the hideout. Realizing that he is getting trapped, Megamind secretly signals Minion to send in his robotic dogs. But as soon as the robotic dogs arrive, they accidentally attack Megamind himself. While trying to escape from the dogs, Megamind accidentally returns to his real appearance. Seeing this, Roxanne becomes shocked and asks where Bernard is. She immediately points the serum gun at Megamind. Using his clever tricks, Megamind once again takes Bernard's appearance and tries to fool Roxanne so he can snatch the gun away from her. During the struggle, the gun suddenly fires and the superpower serum shot goes straight into Hal's nose. After this, Megamind disguised as Bernard and Roxanne both run out of the place together. After regaining consciousness, Hal says that something hit him, but he has no idea that Metro Man's powers have now entered his body. Happy to have escaped safely, Roxanne hugs Megamind and tells him that she will call him the next day. Roxanne's behavior deeply touches Megamind's heart, and he begins to feel genuinely happy. After this, Megamind and Minion start closely monitoring Hal's every move. Once Hal receives the superpowers, Minion advises Megamind to use the antidote and take the powers back from him. However, Megamind stops him and says that the serum hit exactly the right, simple-hearted person. Soon after, they knock Hal unconscious because the serum is beginning to affect his body. Using hologram technology, Megamind disguises himself as a giant, elderly, godlike figure. When Hal wakes up, Megamind tells him that he is his space dad. He convinces Hal that he is extremely lucky to have received these magical powers, and that they have come to guide him onto the right path so he can become the city's new hero and fight against Megamind. Hal becomes incredibly excited after gaining powers. After that, Megamind begins training him to fight evil. Meanwhile, Megamind receives a phone call from Roxanne and continues meeting her while disguised as Bernard. On one side, he trains Hal intensely, and on the other, he spends time with Roxanne as Bernard. One day, he takes Roxanne to her favorite place, which is completely covered in trash. Deeply in love with Roxanne, Megamind secretly cleans the entire area overnight with the help of his robots. During their conversation, while disguised as Bernard, he tells Roxanne that nobody liked him when he was a child. Meanwhile, Hal's training is completed, and Megamind gives him the superhero name, Titan. Megamind tells Titan that tomorrow he will fight Megamind, defeat him, and become the city's true hero. On the other side, Minion plans to create a brand new villain suit for Megamind for the upcoming battle against the new hero. But after getting ready, Megamind says that he is going out for something important. Minion understands immediately and says that he is doing all of this for Roxanne because he has fallen in love with her. Minion warns him by asking what will happen when Roxanne learns the truth about who he really is. Megamind responds by saying that she will never find out. Trying to stop him, Minion says that his only purpose is to take care of him. In anger, Megamind tells him that he does not need him anymore. Hearing this completely breaks Minion's heart, and he leaves Megamind alone and walks away. Meanwhile, Roxanne is trying to solve the mystery behind the clues left by Megamind when the new superhero Titan suddenly arrives. He brings flowers for Roxanne, and to show off his strength, forcefully flies her around the entire city. He repeatedly puts Roxanne in danger himself and then pretends to rescue her. Finally, he takes her to the rooftop of a tall building and removes his mask. Roxanne is shocked to see that Titan is actually Hal. Showing off his powers proudly, Hal proposes to her, but Roxanne clearly rejects him. This makes Titan extremely angry, and he leaves the place. At the same time, Megamind is waiting for Roxanne at a restaurant. When Roxanne arrives, she tells Bernard about Hal becoming a superhero. After that, the two begin having a romantic dinner together. During this moment, Titan sees both of them together through the restaurant window, and his heart shatters. Soon after, Megamind and Roxanne kiss each other, but accidentally, Roxanne's hand presses the button on Megamind's hologram watch. Instantly, Megamind transforms back into his real blue appearance. Seeing this terrifies Roxanne. Megamind desperately tries to switch back into another disguise using the watch, but Roxanne steps away from him. Crying emotionally, Roxanne tells him that he killed Metro Man, lied to her, and played with her feelings. She asks him what he gained from doing all of this. After saying this, Roxanne leaves him alone in the rain, completely heartbroken. With a heavy heart, Megamind returns to his hideout and calls out to Minion, admitting that he was absolutely right. But Minion is no longer there. Feeling completely alone, Megamind decides to return to his old villain lifestyle. He takes a giant robot into the city and challenges the new hero Titan to a fight. After issuing the challenge, evening arrives, but Titan never shows up to fight him. Frustrated, Megamind goes to Titan's house himself, only to find Titan sitting there casually watching TV while sorting through stolen goods. When Megamind asks why he did not come to stop him, Titan carelessly replies that being a hero is pointless. He reveals that he only did all of this to win Roxanne's love, but she was spending time with some nerdy guy instead. After this, Titan offers Megamind the chance for both of them to rule the city together. Megamind explains that Titan is supposed to be the hero while he is the villain, and that Titan's job is to stop him because he created him for exactly that purpose. To provoke Titan, Megamind finally reveals the truth. He shows both his Space Dad disguise and his Bernard disguise, and admits that the nerd Roxanne had been spending time with was actually Megamind himself. Hearing this truth drives Titan completely insane with rage, and he launches a deadly attack on Megamind. A terrifying battle breaks out across the city between the two of them. At first, Megamind manages to fight back using his advanced technology, but Titan's overwhelming strength allows him to smash Megamind's giant robot from the sky straight into the ground. When Megamind finally surrenders as a villain and says that Titan has won and should now take him to jail, Titan cruelly replies that he is not going to send him to prison. He is going to kill him instead. Hearing this, Megamind presses a gadget button and escapes to save his life. But Titan quickly tracks him down again. Megamind traps him inside a giant copper dome cage so that, just like Metro Man, Titan's powers will disappear. But then, a major twist happens. Titan easily breaks out of the cage without losing any power at all. After this, Titan announces that he is going to take complete control of the entire city. After barely escaping with his life, Megamind goes directly to Roxanne and asks for her help to save the city. For the sake of Metro Man and the city, Roxanne agrees to help him. Megamind asks her if she knows about any old secret hideout belonging to Metro Man where they might find a clue about Titan's real weakness. In search of Titan's weakness, Megamind and Roxanne arrive at Metro Man's childhood secret hideout. While investigating the place, they are suddenly shocked to find Metro Man himself there trying to hide from them. Seeing him alive leaves both of them speechless. When Roxanne asks how he could possibly still be alive, Metro Man explains that constantly being a hero had become exhausting and meaningless for him. To live the life he truly wanted, he secretly took a fake skeleton from a nearby school and staged his own death so he could finally focus on what he loved, like learning to play music. Hearing this makes Roxanne furious, because he abandoned the entire city to evil. Megamind asks Metro Man to help save the city, but Metro Man refuses, and says that Megamind himself is now capable enough to face this problem. After this, Roxanne tries to encourage Megamind, but believing himself to be a failed villain, Megamind loses hope and returns to prison, surrendering himself to the police. Meanwhile, Roxanne goes alone to stop Titan as he continues destroying the city. She tries to reason with him, but Titan, now completely blinded by anger, takes her hostage and challenges Megamind live on television to come to the tower, or else, Roxanne will die. Watching this news on TV, Megamind begs the prison warden to let him out. Crying, he admits all of his mistakes and confesses that he even failed to appreciate his closest friend, Minion. Suddenly, the warden spins around his watch and reveals himself to actually be Minion in disguise, who had come to help his friend. Together, they rush out to save the city. Meanwhile, at the tower, just as Titan is about to kill Roxanne, Megamind arrives with his flying vehicles and distracts him. During the battle, the tower begins collapsing. Megamind rescues Roxanne and tries to escape with her. But Titan throws a massive piece of debris toward him. Megamind throws Roxanne safely away and prepares to face the debris himself. Suddenly, Metro Man appears there. Seeing him terrifies Titan completely. Buried under the rubble, Megamind apologizes to Roxanne for all of his mistakes. But then another twist is revealed. The dying Megamind under the rubble is actually Minion disguised as him, while the Metro Man standing there is none other than Megamind himself using hologram technology. Once Titan realizes the trick, he attacks again. Megamind enters his invisible vehicle, where he finds his lost dehydration gun. The moment Titan throws him high into the air, Megamind dehydrates himself mid-air into a single drop of water. He gets close to Titan and fires the antidote serum gun directly into his nose. Instantly, all of Hal's powers disappear. Overjoyed that the city has been saved, Roxanne hugs Megamind tightly. Meanwhile, Minion lies on the ground pretending to be dead, but Megamind laughs and drops him back into a water fountain, restoring him immediately. In the end, all the citizens of Metro City accept Megamind as their true new hero. They give him a grand welcome and build a giant statue of him in the center of the city, where Roxanne proudly stands beside him.